Okay. Blast that, blast that, blast that. Close that, close that. All right. So see as people file in how this all turns out. A couple seconds, we'll go to the intro as soon as some people are in. Okay. Not really much to do here. All right. If everyone can hear me, please let me know. Oh, we're seeing some folks coming in. That's nice. Okay, folks, let's hit the intro. All right. Hi, everybody. Looks like folks are coming in. You can all hear me loud and clear. That is phenomenal. I like that. How's everyone doing tonight? Yeah, I do really need to make sure that the encoding for that intro needs to get revised in the next couple of weeks before we get things properly going. Oh, glad everyone's doing well right now. That is good to see. Yeah, music is cool, Kai. I agree. All right. Let's start off with a little bit of housekeeping here. Welcome to Bandwidth. This is the show where I like to go over what's recently cropped up on Bandcamp, maybe provide a little bit of an insight so we can all share the experience together. I can share some thoughts and commentary, hopefully keep it pretty chill in comparison with the majority of my content. And hey, gotta appreciate that. And yes, this is one of the last, I will say this is the last Bandwidth of this particular calendar year. There's a couple of reasons for that. First off, is next Thursday is Boxing Day, and I actually have a much larger video, hopefully planned for Boxing Day. Fingers crossed there. It might be tricky to get out on time. SZA is not helping with that. Thank you if she's pushing. If Lana actually drops tomorrow, all my plans go into havoc as I have to get that review out before I put out my year-end list. And the thing is I have additional family obligations around this year, plus some traveling obligations. That will make this a little bit complicated and make sure I get everything out on time. My target is still to get the worst hit songs of 2024 out on Christmas Day. My thinking is that the best hit songs of 2024 might not come out Boxing Day. It might come out the 27th. We will have to see. Yeah, how SZA stole Christmas, exactly. Jeez, that is gonna be wild. Yeah, so again, a little bit of housekeeping here. That's a little bit of my plans around that. I'm also not going to have bandwidth coming out the following Thursday. The reason for that is I'm actually going to be out of town, as in not having access to anything close to stable internet. That's partial of the reasons why the best songs and best albums of 2024 are not going to be coming out until, well, after like a decent bit after New Year's. It's not really much I can do about that. Again, I just will not have access to internet, computing, time. I'm just going to be away from all of that for good reasons. A little bit of a me break on that side. But the plan is, especially given how slow January is anyway, I don't think there's going to be much of an issue. And it allows me to get through a few more projects on my back catalog, which I will also need to do, given, thank you very much, SZA, with all of that, with Lana. Hmm. We were watching a best list. It came out on the 27th. No worries. Okay, I guess I'm just ahead of things. That makes me feel good. Yeah, May 27th, I might miss the premiere due to work. Yeah, I get it. Well, the 27th is a Friday, so again, we'll see how all of that goes. For me, a lot of this is going to be dependent on how quickly I can write, because my ordering of the list of the worst songs is done. I have a preliminary ordering for the best list, but it needs to be filtered and refined a little bit more. So we'll see where it goes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Year Endless Season 2. It's some of the most fun I have in any year, and there are also videos that do insanely well, so I want to see how they turn out. Imagine if Lana Del Rey releases an album called SZA. I'm imagining if Lana Del Rey is on the album Lana, I'm going to laugh, and I think there is a very real possibility that happens. Will there be surprises on your worst list? Well, that'd be giving it away now, and there wouldn't be surprises. But I'll be very honest. I do need to provide a bit of an explanation as to why I was not live last Thursday because I was planning to be, and that's because I was very sick. Basically, the stretch from last Wednesday up until about I want to say yesterday or the day before, I've been fighting something off, something major. It's not COVID or anything like that, thank God. But it was something in my system, made all the more difficult because I was also traveling as well, visiting family over the holidays, and it just really knocked me out for a loop. I literally had videos saved and already filmed and ready to go in advance, and that kind of saved my bacon there. But at the same time, it's not. I've gotten through a lot the past week, and that's the reason why I did not show up on camera live streaming on Thursday, mostly because I didn't want to be blowing my nose every other half second, like, for instance, what I'm going to be doing now. Apologies if that blows out the mic. I tend to blow my nose rather loudly. All right. Let's keep going through the chat here. Once again, if you guys want to get atop the chat or actually have me to speak more directly or immediately address your questions, super chats are available. Once again, don't feel obligated. Tough times. And hey, we're heading into the holiday season. I understand if your money is going to elsewhere and not me. I kind of completely get that. But hey, if you want to, always available. Let's see what we have here. Thoughts on Mahashmashana by Father John Misty. I reviewed the album. It's one of the best albums of the year. Please go check out that review. That was actually a lot of fun. I had a lot to say about that one. Is there any place to access the expanded talk of the charts list that you're going to be using? There is. I'm going to be attaching a link to that in the video description when I put those lists out. Why Don't You Like Sing by Ed Sheeran? It's one of those weird songs. I feel like I kind of just have never clicked with it the way I feel like I'm supposed to. Future, in terms of it, not Future, Pharrell, in terms of his production on the song, this kind of clashes in a bit of an awkward way. It feels like it's trying to go for a Justin Timberlake vibe, but Timbaland grooves and Pharrell grooves are very different, and Pharrell is much more hit and miss for me. Did you watch Rolling Loud? I did not. Two questions. You seem to be missing every other week lately. Is part of the schedule be bi-weekly or I'm tripping? Part of that is, again, it's happened on some of my end. Part of this is because I've had an extremely busy fall and winter, to be honest. Like, some of this has just not been out of my control, and some of this has just been illness or ailments on my part. I haven't wanted to. But I also do think there is a likelihood that we might go to bi-weekly in the upcoming year. I will have more discussion on that when I do my Spectrum Pulse 2025 update, so stay tuned for that. Nose blowing stream. Oh God, no, I don't want that. Are you doing the year-end albums Bandcamp post? What year-end albums Bandcamp post? No, I'm not touching those. I'm not going through those. We'll get to what we do in this section of Bandwidth in a little bit. Are you having more fun making the best or worst list this year? The worst list isn't fun this year. I gotta be honest. Like, sometimes the worst list is easy to ridicule. This list just makes me sad and depressed. Less because they are truly atrocious songs, but more because, oh, that's what I gotta deal with. Ugh. All right, Travis House, thank you for the super chat. Would you do indie album reviews? I would love for you to review my album with your honest thoughts. Again, I will point you towards my Patreon in respect to that, in terms of getting access to my schedule in the upcoming new year. And granted, if your album came out this year, it is probably disqualified. If you're looking to put something out in the upcoming year, like in 2025, if you're on my Patreon schedule and you have access, there is a chance you might be able to get reviews. One thing I will always stipulate for artists who want to put their own albums on my schedule is that you are not guaranteed a review because, again, on my schedule operates how I choose it. If I don't have enough material or I feel like I'm punching down, I will often veto that. And that's the other thing. You are not guaranteed a good review because my integrity is worth more than your album. Tiny, some of your favorite albums of the year will be. Is it like 2025? Is it like 2015 all over again? Oh, I'm not going to spoil that. Yeah. Do you hear Lil Baby might be dropping 2 albums? God, I hope not. I'm sorry. I really want Lil Baby to actually say something more. Him dropping 2 albums feels like a total mistake. One of the things, actually, I'll spoil this because it was one of the last cut for my dishonorable mentions for my worst hits list. Band for Band is not a good song. Like, maybe it's because I can't stand Central C at all, but Lil Baby is worse on Band for Band than you remember him being. All right. Um, Random. Yeah, I actually agree with you there, Tiny. Especially that Dua Lipa was never properly credited on "Think I'm in Love with You." There's a reason for that. I actually went back and checked. There is actually not a very good version of their duet on streaming. Like you'll see the live version of it, and I've seen the live version kind of being repackaged, especially as you know that that live version got sent around. And let's be honest, both of them sound phenomenal live, so I'm not surprised at that. But at the same time, it is a little frustrating that you're like, yeah, Dua Lipa could have been credited on that, and it would have been just fine. Because honestly, as much as I adore that song, I think Dua Lipa really accents it effectively. And I think that more soulful register really works well for her alto. I always mention her. Yeah, I always do. I always mention her on that specifically because that's kind of how I associate the song with her now. I think she really transforms it in a really compelling way. Hmm. All right. Caught the new High Vis album at the review. Really good, man. Manchester Post Punk. Glad you know about it. Yeah, I was thrilled with that album. It's so much fun. Me and my personal trainer played it, and it was total vibes all the way through. Ton of fun. Yeah. No, potentially. Best list is going to be interesting. The best list has some swerves because one thing I will say about the best list is that operating with the larger selection that we get as a factor of get a factor of talk of the charts, you get exposed to album cuts that have lingered on the charts for longer than I think people give credit, and that makes that list a lot more interesting. Yeah, stay tuned for that. Thoughts on Rustin Kelly's dirt emo cover of "Sand in My Boots"? I like it. It's kind of exactly what I expected from Rustin Kelly. Like, I love that he covered it. It's I can easily now swap out Morgan Wallen's version with Rustin Kelly's. That's rad. Um, I do wish like my dream is that Rumor would have done it and then got like the girl, then got a girl to sing alongside it because that would have been fun. Funnily enough, Rumor now follows me on Twitter for some stupid reason. Like, I mean, cool because he recently favorited my tweets about that. But yeah, I'm not going to complain about Rustin Kelly covering "Sand in My Boots." It's one of Morgan Wallen's unabashedly great songs. I can admit that. Yeah. Yeah, you got to be honest. Tortured Poets Department is going to be a factor on my year-end hits list. It's also going to be a factor on my other list. We will. I'm going to have to see what I do in terms of if I put the album rule that I had specifically for my songs list, whether or not I apply it to my hits list as well. Because a lot of my favorite songs from Tortured Poets Department could easily make that list. Thoughts on Remy Wolf? Haven't had a chance to really get into her. She's on my list of people to get into, but again, just haven't really had the time. Regarding your indie reviews and the artist asks for them, is Second in Command just lucky, or they have a rapport and consistency to make them reviewing them a staple for the channel? Second will put in their albums relatively regularly, mostly because they ran through the gauntlet where I gave them some pretty friggin' harsh reviews. Um, and again, I've seen them really improve and grow. They are a patron where they'll put in their stuff, but I've also vetoed more than my fair share of what they've asked for. And again, for me, a lot of those reviews have been I will say I leave them in the short forms. They're faster. I can get them out that much more quickly. This is the first long form video I've dedicated to one of their videos with Genre Femboy, and honestly, it was deserving of it. And the swell and traction they're seeing is genuinely impressive. I've seen a lot of real improvement that I think is worth highlighting. That is the optimum case where you see an artist who puts their stuff on my schedule and then sees growth because of it. And it's not because of anything, it's not because of currying favor with me, because I have told them off many times directly. But again, and I've always said this, my integrity is worth more than your album. Oh, hi, Tro. Good to see you in here. I hope you're well. Wondering if you're familiar with Rachel Chinuri? I actually am not familiar with her. Yeah, so interesting idea. Nice to see you, Tro. It's been a really long time. Nice to see you. Okay, let's take a look. Isn't it funny that Brat isn't even the best album beginning with the letter B by a girl named Charlie released this decade? I am looking forward to the next Charlie Adams album. And she's such a sweetheart, too. All right. Let's see what else is here. 15 of the 16 songs of the album were eligible for my list. I think it's like over half on the TOTC list, at least. Yeah, I think at this point, enough people are so alienated and frustrated with Billboard that they're taking a broader criterion when it comes to hits. And I think especially this year, I'm going to say this in my list of the worst hit songs of 2024. There's very few years where it feels like the discourse around hits and what is popular has felt out of touch with what is actually being consumed, or at least what's being documented on Billboard. Because Billboard is always an artificial construct that's janky, frequently broken. But at the other hand, there are parts of it that are more representative of the passive, silent majority consumers than people will give credit. And in that notice, I think the people who are loudest on social media in comparison with what is actually popular IRL in terms of the broader population, it really highlights how social media is not a representative sample. And I think that's very interesting. Or does it go from music reviews? Oh, Tro, you flatter me. Thank you. No, Secretary, it must be so. Did you hear Shinri's album? Oh, thanks for it. Oh, that might be something worth checking out. I'm always interested to see what else pops up on my radar here. Teasing and stuff. Okay. One thing I will say about tonight, it's probably going to be a shorter video tonight. And the reason for that is because Bandcamp specifically paused doing their album of the day, at least in the month of December, from what I can tell. So in other words, we're going to go straight to the regular Bandcamp daily tab instead of actually going to those individualized pages. And from what I can tell, it's a lot of electronic music tonight because I think a lot of electronic musicians recognize how few of them are recognized by publications or really any critics, if we're being sadly honest. So it's going to be a little bit nice to actually see the breadth of what actually will fall out there. It might be a little bit longer songs, might have a bit of a rave going. Yeah, oons. Appreciate that. Let's see what else is here. Did my first listen to a full SZA album last night with Control. Did my first listen to SOS tonight. SOS is long. That's a 23-song album. I'm really hoping Lana is like, as a deluxe, it's like a solid 11. Like, I hope she took the lesson that Kendrick had with GNX. Then make it tight, make it compact. It could be really engaging. Excuse me. Again, I don't expect that. I get the feeling Lana has hundreds of songs in the can. It's just a matter of structuring them. So we will have to see where all that goes. Could Euphoria take a spot away from GNX on your best songs list? Yes. It will take a spot. Euphoria is likely going to make both lists in terms of hits and in terms of overall songs. Because it is very rare that I memorize an entire rap song, but Euphoria was one of those songs where I basically, it's not a song I can do at karaoke because for a lot of obvious reasons, but I think I know it by heart at this point. Watch Lana be the side of the tortured poets department in Anthology. Don't do this to me, man. I'm gonna have to put out Billboard Breakdown when I'm on vacation. I don't have time for that kind of album bomb. Oh god. One thing I will say though is that late year album bombs do very interesting things to how the Christmas music permeates through year end list. And I'm kind of okay with some of them sweeping away like past year's hits. I don't mind late year album bombs at all. Because especially when songs don't always rotate out because the radio is slow as balls these days. Uh, yeah, Lana's just all the GNX beats with SZA singing over them. That would be kind of funny because I think she could do something really cool with a couple of those beats. I don't think she could do much with the actual GNX the song because that beat is just doing things that I still am a little on the fence about. But putting her on like whacked out murals, I'd love to see what her brand of that crescendo would be. Lose Control going on for like 70 weeks now. Yeah, it's kind of a shame because like Teddy Swims, I was very cold on Teddy Swims off of Lose Control, but he spent this year endearing himself to me a lot because he was on Lucky Days album and he's got good connections in the industry. He gets along well with Kesha. The Door is a great song. Bad Dreams is a great song. Like he's making the right moves for me to like him, and it's kind of one of those things I'm liking him in spite of myself, which is a me thing. I fully understand that, but it is what it is. Tell him SZA did it. Lose Control is predicted to go recurring next week by Talk of the Charts, but I don't know. It'd be interesting if it does. Again, it will have been on the charts that long. And again, Lose Control for me always felt a little bit like Earned It. And I don't like Earned It as a song. Just that very stiff progression. And it's trying to be very soulful in that triplet. And I mean, I get why people like it. I get why it works. It's just not for me. One of the unreleased songs from Lana has a guest feature from Lizzo. Uh, that makes more sense. That does make a certain amount of sense, but I bet that doesn't make the album. Given all the shit Lizzo's in right now, I can imagine that's going to be something that she can't. Punch and Top are way too smart to do that. Granted, at the same time, they did put Kodak was all over Mr. Morale, so who knows? Sounds like Teddy Swims is what Noah Kahan was for you last year. I'm not even going to say that. Noah Kahan had a record of mediocrity, that being Stick Season, and then he just collabed with everybody I liked and did a bunch of remixes. And I'm like, oh crap, you made some good music. Good for you. Teddy Swims kind of started on a little bit more of a neutral field. I'm like, okay, he can sing. He's just not for me. And then he realized, oh, not only can he really sing, he's well connected. He's putting in the work and he's working with good people. It does bother me though that there is so much of the soul music or so much of the soul leaning singers, especially in 2024, have just been white guys. Like they're great singers. I'm not going to take anything away from very large men with big voices. As a large man with a big voice, I'm not going to take anything away from that. But I will say that between Teddy Swims and then to also an extent Jelly Roll, it does feel very Caucasian up in this, and I feel like a broader diversity would help. Yeah, Post Malone, the Trailblazer. Yeah, I gotta be honest, he kind of was. Not always for the good reasons either. And then Post Malone just went to make a country album that was so aggressively, well, it was aggressively industry. That's what it was. Although my favorite songs from that, I don't know why he hasn't pushed Nosedive yet. Nosedive is such a good song and really should have been pushed. Apologies for that. Still fighting off something. Lizzo cases were dropped. I mean, I'm not surprised. Does Noah Kahan have the potential to improve me? Sure he does. Like, I think I said back in my short review that Noah Kahan's a decent enough writer, and he can structure a hook in a song in terms of its construction very well. The problem was his production was bland as hell, and there were so many little elements of his writing that pissed me off. If Noah Khan corrects either of those, and given the people he's collaborating with, I think he can. I think it's possible. I think it is very, very possible. Um, let's do. What albums are you excited for in 2025? Most excited immediately is Perverts by Ethel Cain. That's actually in January. I'll be honest, I'm kind of excited for the new Weekend album. It's like the singles have not been good, but like, you know what? I'm going to say this, I'll step back. The singles have not been as good as they should be. But again, I said that with Dawn FM too. So if we get another song on the tier of Out of Time that's nestled in the deep cuts and realize, oh crap, we have a gem on our hands, and The Weeknd can always make those songs. So it depends where he goes with it. I'm really hoping that album's good. Franz Ferdinand, new album coming. That's gonna be a lot of fun. They're very clearly They're looking to move into their art rock, elder statesman. Let's get a little weirder space. I'm excited for that. And they haven't put out an album since Always Ascending, so that's gonna be fun. Hype for Perverts and Franz too. Nice sweater. Thank you. I got the sweater actually from family last weekend. It's very fuzzy. It's warm. It's nice. All right. You know what? We're far enough in. I appreciate. Yeah, well, please, Abel, don't screw this up. How has FFS aged for me? It's aged pretty well. I still think it's uneven. I think I appreciate it now more, knowing a little bit more Sparks and having my music tastes get a little bit weirder with time. I can better appreciate what they are doing. I also think that Collaborations Don't Work is one of the most hilarious bits of meta commentary in music to come out in 2015. And I should remind you that it's also the year of I Love You Honey Bear by Father John Misty and Return to the Moon by Elvi. That's saying a lot. Okay. Feels like it's going to be a bit of a mess, but maybe a good one. What's your favorite shirt that you normally wear in videos? I have so many t-shirts that I like. Here's the thing. I have one thing all of you probably know that I wear, if I have the same artist, I try to wear the same t-shirt from the first time I review them ongoing. The problem is that since I have expanded, like put on both weight and muscle, alongside the fact that t-shirts just wear out with time, you haven't seen some t-shirts in a long time, then that's because they've just gotten old. Like, clothes do not last forever. Sometimes you got to replace them. Sometimes you have to up your game too. Like I loved that Frank Turner Positive Songs for Negative People t-shirt, but the reason you haven't seen it for years is it just got holes in it. Like it just broke down. It happens. But all right, you know what? Let's get things started here. Let's go over to our Bandcamp Daily. Here we go. I'm going to interact with this browser. Interact. Let's take a look what we have here. Okay, so again, the one thing that we are immediately going to start off with is, again, I try to avoid compilations and I try to avoid like the various artist stuff. Like, look at this. There's an audiobook here. Forgive me for saying this, but I don't think it's appropriate that we listen to an audiobook on stream. On the plus side, we have a new Aphex Twin song here. This is from one of their larger compilations, which has kind of been like, he's previously put this out only as a one-off vinyl, and I believe this is only like a few minutes of a song. And hey, I kind of want to listen to Aphex Twin right now. That's a good way to start a heavy electronic episode. So the song is called, okay, here we go. The song is called T47 Smodge, London, March 6th, 2017. Let's give it a shot. It's pretty short. Very creaking. I don't mind the deconstructed elements here. Like, it sounds really good. Like, I always like Aphex Twin when it comes to the texture. It's a little haunted, too. I like that. Okay, elongating the distortion. And there you have it. That's T47 Smodge by Aphex Twin. Not a lot to say about that. It feels a little bit like an instrumental fragment. I do like it. I do like that shuddering kind of grainy crunch that goes alongside it. Not especially melodic, and it feels like it's a fragment of a larger piece, but I'd be willing to listen to a larger piece. That was pretty cool. Yeah, it sure is something. I agree. One thing I want to answer in the chat here, number one, the Bad Seed shirt is iconic. I've replaced it with the exact same shirt before, and mostly because I feel like it will be a staple in my wardrobe for now until the end of time, I think. And then one thing else here, what else is here? I'm just looking through. Hang on a second, I want to check my chat here. Chat. You're right. There was something else I want to see. The Foo Fighters shirt. Okay. That's a fun story behind that. I just want to quickly divulge this. My Foo Fighters shirt is actually one I lost for years. I got that in 2019 at Sonic Temple. And I basically put it in a drawer, and I hadn't gone into that drawer for a long time, but I was going through my clothes trying to find stuff that fit. And I'm like, oh, I bought the shirt before. It was way too big. Now fits me just fine. Rad. I got a new Foo Fighters shirt. That's great. Yeah, absolutely not going to complain about that. Hopefully we're unreleased Mac Miller. Yeah. I'm not going to be I'm probably not going to be reviewing that upcoming Mac Miller album. Again, I don't really cover posthumous projects. All right, let's keep moving here. Next up, we're not doing the audiobook, even though the Ballad of the Lost Dogs of East Nashville does sound pretty interesting. But we got some ambient music. This is from Halftime Souvenir. Not familiar with them. They are, again, ambient music. Looks pretty cool. The song is called Cascade. Let's give it a shot. Get some lights moving here. Oh, this is very pleasant. Let's choose there we go. All right, it's got some gauzy textures here. A little bit of guitar. Like very gentle melodic phrases. I'm not seeing a lot that's super special, but it's nice. And new Wombats next year will be really nice too. Yeah, if this is just a vibes like evening, I'm okay with some vibes. Like especially around the holidays, we could use that. Like this isn't doing a lot, but I'm also get the feeling it doesn't need to do a lot. Hey, Eamon Roche, welcome joining as the YouTube memberships as a watcher. Glad to have you on board. See, I do like the guitar phrases, but I do wish they're proceeding at a pace where they're not really doing that much or really interweaving with anything. Ooh, a little bit of a deeper bass note there. I'm glad I found stuff that's easy on the brain. That's kind of like the vibe I want for tonight. Just exhale. 2024, we need an exhale. It is going for a while, though, and not doing that much, so... We're near the end of it, though. That was Cascade from Half-Life Souvenir from their first EP. That was pleasant. Again, a number of guitar phrases and chords that had a little bit of interweaving touches. I wouldn't say it was doing a lot, and I wouldn't say that it probably deserved that runtime. Like, it feels like it kind of ran out of ideas by about the 3.5 minute mark. But at the same time, hard to complain about it. Certainly was very pleasant, certainly very likable. I'm entirely okay with that. That was good. Again, it's not an ambient song I'm going to really remember or be drawn back to in the same way, but sometimes you don't need that, especially when it comes to bandwidth, and especially if this is like their first EP. Like, I'm like, that's fine. That's very fine. All right, next up we have from Leon Rom. This is from the Basement Meditation EP. This is more electronic music from what I can tell. I believe it's closer to instrumental hip hop that's more down tempo. The song is called For Q and D. Let's give it a shot. Oh, it's a vibes evening. I like this. A little bit of a low. I wouldn't quite say it's lo-fi because that bass line's more robust alongside the what sounds like live drums. Sure, the snap fits in the percussion though. It's that add a little bit, feels a little stiff. You don't quite need that. Yeah, this one's kind of locked in its pocket. Could afford one interpolation. It feels like it's a little short on ideas. Oh. All right, that was 4Q&D by Leon Rom for the project Basement Meditations, his debut EP. That was pretty nice. I liked the overall feel of it. I like that thicker, like coursing bass line alongside a lot of the percussion that had a little bit more of that live drumming feel. Didn't love the snap. I feel like the piano line could have really afforded a variant. It's a good melody, but it maybe relied on the melody a little bit too much. Again, it wasn't bad. And for a debut EP, I'm not going to really complain about this. Apparently, this guy is a pretty well-known German producer. And this is his first solo project on his own. Again, there's certainly a level of technical refinement I can hear, but maybe he could have afforded to do a little bit more. That's all. Yeah, that was fine. Not going to complain about that at all. All right, let's keep moving. Okay, this is going to be a bit of an interesting one. More electronic music. This is from Panelia from the album Nothing and All at Once. I'm not sure where this person's from. Hang on, it's apparently leaning more on the jungle side of things. Out of New Delhi, out of India. And the song is called The Dawn After, featuring Sija? Again, language barrier on my part. The song is called The Dawn After. Let's give it a shot. Ooh, that is a deep bass. So I'm going to change my lights a little here. More grainy textures around that beat. Like faint vocals. Like, I like the darker discordance in this song. Like, it's kind of lurking in the background. Like, the backing textures are really cool. But there's some subtle evolution here in the back. Let's not complain. I'm enjoying this. It does feel very cinematic. I agree. I would agree. I think this is a more developed ambient cut. I think you would have to have a very specific cyberpunk vibe for this. This feels a little bit more like windswept and atmospheric, where there's a little bit more of a blend between the organic and technological and decay. I like how the guitar feedback's a little bit more defined here too. Blake, it's called Black Gaze. It's great. Well, actually, take that back. It's either Black Gaze or post rock, or post metal, and they don't always click together. Sometimes it gets real boring real fast. And it's a little distorted, like it's borderline post rock, and I do like it. That was The Dawn After, featuring Sigia, from the album Nothing and All at Once by Panalea. I really like that. That was really cool. Immediately what it springs to mind with this song is how a lot of the guitars were just kind of stormy and kind of like not quite curdled, not quite exploding, but just kind of like mutating, like overflowing clouds that would just like roll over an area. Like what immediately puts to mind to me is like the hot moment right before a storm blows in. And that was really cool in setting that emotional stakes and vibe. Again, it did feel like it was maybe testing its runtime a little bit more. I do appreciate that it faded out well, but maybe it could have used a little bit more to fully stick the landing. That was really good. Not sure I was wowed by it, though I will say I was close. I think the female vocals were very effective there as well. Black Gaze is definitely closer to ambient than most post metal. Yeah, probably fair. Most post metal is really riffy. Yeah, it really depends with post metal. I've had some, because I think there's a lot of post metal that wants to be post rock but heavier, where we're just build crescendo, rip off explosions in the sky, and Godspeed You Black Emperor, see what happens. And I can feel like that's a little bit of a mistake. I think Black Gaze often embraces more of those ambient textures, or can at least get a little closer to maybe even some drone textures, depending on how they're brought in. Let's keep moving here. All right, this is from, we got a bit of a weird one here, from what I can tell. A unique and moving blend of dub, electronics, hip-hop, psych jazz, post-punk, and Afrobeat. The album is called Attic by Lawn. And the song is called Mama Song. Okay, let's give it a shot. Oh. Get the lights right here. This has some funk to it. Like, I really like the bass alongside that more textured percussion. That's a synth choice. I'm not high enough for this. Yeah, I don't love the bells here. Or the synth. I don't love the vocal sample either, honestly. I think the vocal sample kind of dates it. The guitar does it. That's a nice guitar. Let's be real, there's no cop show that's cool enough for that bass line, or that percussion. There's a part of me that wants to say this is Persona spin-off music, but I know that's wrong. Yes, as in the game. Yeah, that was really fun. Okay. That was Mama Song from the album Attic by Lawn. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. First off, one thing I want to highlight, killer bass line, great percussion. I love that build. I love how enticing that groove was. And when the guitars eventually came in, I was really sucked in. That is a sweet ass lick, and I really love the solo. Did not love all the synths, did not love all of the tinkling bell effects, and I gotta be honest, the vocals, again, as I said when I was actually talking about it mid-song, the vocals feel like they kind of dated it a bit. They feel like it's the sort of thing I'm like, oh, that it reminds me that is something that could have been played in the 70s rather than something that was more modern to it now, especially with the flavor and fidelity of the vocal pickup. Not bad by any means. I did enjoy that. Actually, I enjoyed that a lot, but again, could have been a little better, though. That's all I'm thinking. Does feel like a little bit of an Atlas game. Little too stiff to fit with the Persona games. I don't know. Like, I think Persona games, I kind of see that because Persona games are a little bit more freewheeling. That's why I said spin-off. All right, let's keep moving here. Next up, this is from Stella Bridey. Humorous, relatable pop with an indie street for fans of Boy Genius and Ethel Cain. Those two don't really go together. Okay. The album is called Speaking Terms. Oh boy. And the song is called Organ Donor. Well, that may be why they're talking about Ethel Cain. But tish. Let's give it a shot. No, stop. This is not Ethel Cain. Yeah, I got thoughts on this immediately, and they're not going to be fair. Okay, you know what? Oh, that ended quickly. That was Organ Donor by Stella Bridey from the project Speaking Terms. Yeah, a lot of you weren't feeling it, and it kind of... Okay, here's the thing. It's set up a comparison that it can't pay off. If you make comparisons to Boy Genius, I expect more in the writing. I expect harmonies. I expect a little bit more going on than a so-so Lucy Dacus impression. Honestly, not a very good one. If you set up a comparison with Ethel Cain, you need to do better than your very cheeky line. If you don't want to be alone, be an organ donor. I mean, That was one of those lines that almost I had to restrain from myself from doing the eye roll. I may have already done it on stream. Like it wasn't good, but here's the thing: it doesn't feel like it. It feels mediocre because of amateurism and poor marketing rather than a lack of quality overall. Like I can feel like the budget's not there. The guitars have no muscle, have no flair to it. The vocals weren't great either. Like I feel like there was a lot of everything operating at a 4 out of 10, but I feel like a lot of it's being framed as being much, much worse than what it is because of how it's marketed itself. And that's kind of shitty because otherwise, like, I think we're all seeing the comparison, like, oh, it's not even close to that. Well, obviously. But again, at the same time, I'm like, I've heard worse. It could have been much worse. I don't hate that. I'm gonna forget it exists. I'm not going back to it. I have no interest in reviewing it, but like, it is what it is. Her personal marketing line on Bandcamp seems to be music for the long walk home from the party, which establishes fair expectations. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's fair. Yeah. No, it did not sound like 2010s era Maroon 5. Not even close. Like, again, it's fine. Like 2010s era Maroon 5 sounded way more plastic, way more cheap, and the vocal production was somehow worse. All right. We got to put some ambient music on. Cool off a little bit. All right. So this is from Adra. The album is called Music for Oh Jesus. From Adra, Music for Psychiatric Wards and Fluid Structures. The song we have is called Ambient Music Board. It goes for about 7 minutes. Let's give it a shot. Very soft focus of this one. Sammy, I hope you don't intend the pun there. Feels like there's a marimba there alongside alongside some of the chime elements. There's something very deliberate on how the instruments are being played here. Almost seems like there's a hesitation that comes with like a lot of moments here. That sounds like a banjo, honestly. The slight grind here is interesting. I'll defer to anyone making comparisons to Stardew Valley. I've never played, so. Definitely there is an Asian traditionalism. I don't want to say Chinese. I'm not sure which one I would pinpoint here. But it feels like it's kind of like grinding to get to those notes. That hesitancy is still persistent here. Those bass kicks are actually, like, they're subtle, but they're very well mixed, in my opinion. Because it's a prominent. It's almost like a heartbeat, but it's also rounded at every edge. Hmm. I think some of the grinding textures kind of, they've worn on me a little. Sounds like we're about over. That was Ambient Music Board by Adra from the project Music for Psychiatric Wards and Fluid Systems. What's interesting about this project, fluid structures, not fluid systems. One thing that's interesting, I'm reading a little bit of the description about this. Apparently, this guy would go into psychiatric facilities and actually perform his music there. So he may have been like a music therapist, where he would go in and try to play these styles of music in order to try to calm people down, in order to try to better soothe and fit the atmosphere. That's why that's kind of why I think that's why the tentativeness kind of makes a little bit of sense because it feels like he's trying to respond to something that we're not seeing. And there's always that push and pull, just trying to make sure you get that motif for something to, for the folks to draw attention to, for the moment to crystallize. And I think that's pretty good. Like, again, I think it definitely tested its runtime, going for around 7 minutes. And I also think there's the element here that feels like, okay, it's cool. I appreciate the texture of it all, and I appreciate some of how the textures would layer and then kind of decompose pretty well. But that grinding, chiming sound it tested me a little bit. I'm not sure I fully loved it as much as I would have liked to. Is what it is, though. Certainly intriguing. Not going to complain. Next up, we have that's a vinyl release of a new wave track from 1983. We're skipping that. Corella Skeletons. Is this one in my? We've now reached the point where I have to wonder if something is actually in my. This one's not in my documentation. None of these are. Okay. Well, might as well give myself a little bit more time. Like, again, this might not run as long as... so, by Corella, emotionally rich, instantly gratifying grab bag of reggae, pop, rock, and soul from this New Zealand 7-piece. Okay, let's give it a shot. Actually, you know what? Let's go to the site here. Hang on. Let me link. All right, can't go to the link. Fine, then. All right, here we go. I don't want to say those vocals are goofy, but they're kind of goofy. Oh my god! Oh dear. This has to be a joke. That deeper voice makes me crack up. I'm sorry. Why do they anchor their hook in that line? Oh my gosh. Sorry. The ad-libs. I'm sorry. Yeah, I can see that, Odo. Yeah, this is close. I feel like I would want to see Nash's response if someone sneaks this in at Radio Dead Air Request. Well, okay, I don't know that was. I don't know what song that is, but the band is called Corella. The album is called Skeletons. I have no words. Actually, I have a lot of words, but the first response is I have no words. What the actual hell was that? I feel like we need to describe the description they wrote for this was, and I quote, an emotionally rich, instantly gratifying grab bag of reggae, pop rock, and soul from this Auckland, New Zealand 7-piece. Yes, I know that's would be Nash's response, but it'd be very funny. The song is, you guessed it, Cookie. Apropos. I feel like we need some deep lyrical analysis for this one because, the cookie got cooked and then it got crispy. Like, I feel the decomposition of that relationship as they followed the rhyme of crispy with whiskey. Honestly, do not tell Morgan Wallen that because that just opens up entirely new. Oh my God, can you imagine him covering that? Because he would too. Oh dear. Yeah. I am not convinced this isn't a Hot Country Nights type of band in disguise. I'm not either, but it's really funny. Like that, I had more fun laughing at that because the problem is I think that there's a part of them that feels serious because there weren't any other jokes in the song. It has the feel of someone who got a wild hair up their ass about one metaphor and then decided to extend that metaphor for as far as they could. And the song just becomes ridiculous. You get one of those songs like every like 2 years or so. Like, oh, you have an idea. Oh, you pulled that idea. Oh no, leave that poor idea alone. You're just abusing it. Stop. It's already dead. Like, yeah. And the song reminds me of The Lonely Island and Tenacious D. It kind of does, but the delivery isn't kooky enough. I said kooky, not cookie. If it's a joke, it's a strange missed opportunity to not escalate the joke upon each repetition of the chorus. It's just identical every time. Exactly, which is why I don't think it's a joke. I think it's just one idea that got really cranked up. It got crispy. You get a little bit of that cookie to the dirt, man. It will bring you down. Oh my God. Yeah. Especially that lower delivery where I'm like, that was a choice. That was certainly a choice. Well, anyway, that's Corella from the album Skeletons. Clearly, this is something that we all need to hear and review, and needs to make sure it gets on every critic's radar before the end of the year. Like, forget SZA. Everyone needs to hear Cookie, because I guarantee that everyone's going to have a lot more to say about that than the prearranged 4 out of 5 star reviews they're going to give SZA. So, yeah, that's where I'm going with. Again, it certainly was something. Anyway, let's keep moving. That's I do not Baby Blue Volume 5 mixed by Iko Niche. He's a German producer. Crisp hip hop beats with raw edge samples and minimal wave abstractions. No idea where it's going, but let's give it a shot. Look at that album art. We are in the weird part of bandwidth at this point. This will be fine. It is left field. I can definitely get that. I like the piano. Like, once I got the pattern, this is fine. This is actually kind of cool. I can imagine like Rap Ferreira rapping on this. Lena, you gotta stop, otherwise I'm gonna keep laughing. Well, that was short. That was from well, let me look at this. This is a little small for me. Baby Blue Volume 5 mix by Ico Niche. That was kind of cool. Like once you got the handle of like the slightly off-kilter groove, it was all right. Like, it was fine. Like I liked the piano. I kind of didn't mind that deeper voice going, "This will be fine." Like I kind of liked how a little bit weird it was, but I feel like it didn't go anywhere. Like once you adapted to what it was doing, it didn't really do enough to go beyond that. Um, and watching too much Doctor Who puts me in the mind of walking through a corridor where you think you might be followed, but you're fine for the time being. Yeah, I get that. I can definitely hear that vibe. I was like, yeah, this will be fine. Something's coming up behind me, but they're like a kilometer or so back. It'll be fine. But the piano is ever so slightly ominous, and the beats kind of crumbling around it. Yeah. There's a part of me that has swung around to kind of liking that. I don't think I've got a lot to say about it, but yeah, it was interesting, I'd say the least. All right, let's keep moving. Life Isn't a Fountain by not you. With free jazz saxophones and murky techno rhythms in tow, the UK artist sharpens ambient soundscapes into musical acts of resistance. Definitely intrigued how ambient music can be resistant. Like, that sounds like me on my ambient bullshit, but okay, let's give it a shot. I like that very distant snare. Why does this singer remind me of early Kimbra? Yeah, the knife is a really good comparison. Incidentally, I am happy that most people came around that the Shaking Habitual is not that good. Snare's gone. Like the replacement with the piano. I'm not getting Bjork. Bjork's a little warmer. What, Kai, you didn't like fracking fluid injection? This I kind of like. Yeah, the atonal elements are kind of losing me a little here. This is doing a lot. Well, okay then. Not sure what the name of the song is, but that was by You, and the song's called "Life Isn't a Fountain." Yeah, that was odd. A number of elements there that I'm not going to call that bad. It was just weird. I do think that that repeating snare that suddenly drops out in favor of the piano was kind of cool. I think some of that atonal passage a little bit right after that, I didn't really care for it. I think it was building into something that was a little bit more ominous and off kilter. I just not sure it really paid off a lot of it. Like there was a lot of ideas in that piece that kind of like it kind of felt like it was shambling across different ideas, trying to scrabble to pick them up as it was going through. Not sure I loved all of said ideas, but they were intriguing to say the least. Not gonna say it was great, or gonna say something I go back to, but I'm like, Very much a something that made me go, yeah, kind of cool. I'll give it that. That's what taking the forbidden weed sounds like. Nah, I didn't get a smoked out vibe from that. I did appreciate everyone trying to draw comparisons because some of the vocals did come across a little bit like Björk, a little bit like there was a number. I made the Kimbra comparison, like the Vows era Kimbra, where she would like jump across, and she's a little too prim, but was trying to sound wild. That's kind of the vibe I was getting. All right, okay. Here we have from Tom Noble. Tom Noble presents House of Spirits. All right. We may have some disco here. Crate diggers, globetrotters, and disco lovers alike. So we may have disco. Everyone get your groove on. Let's hit it. Ooh, we got vibes here, ladies and gentlemen. We got vibes. Need to get some pinks up in here. Just gotta get some pinks. Not sure the vocals are doing this the most justice. It's very like an 80s disco vibe, and I want to say like 80s as in like 80, 81. Interesting you bring up Silk Sonic, though. I had something to say about that when we hop back on. All right. Yeah. The bass line's nice. Like, it's got a good rollick, but there's not much beyond that. And the vocals are real weak. You know, Blake, you're kind of right. There is some Kool and the Gang here. Kool and the Gang would have had a little bit more of a robust arrangement, but like for the slow jams of that like early 80s time period, I definitely hear that here. Good vibe, though. It is still going, yeah. This was out of ideas about 2 minutes ago. I think we're about done. Ending off with the bass line, which is the best thing here. Okay, I love the bass line, but you gotta, like, just changing your synth modulation on your Casio is not gonna win me over. Granted, disco always runs long, but ugh. This could have been an email out of 10. Ow! That's mean! I'm not even sure I'd say that. That's from Tom Noble. From Tom Noble Presents House of Spirits. I don't know what song it is. That was, I'll be honest, it was mediocre. I was not impressed by that at all. The bass line was fine. I think the groove, once you had it, was good. I think the vocals were bad. I'm just going to always say the vocals were not good there. And the reason why the vocals weren't good there are actually pretty obvious. He had no power, he had no soul to his delivery. But I could tell how often he was straining in order to sell the vibe. And that's not like you, ideally with that kind of sound, you want to convey passion, but you don't want to come across like your voice is kind of wheezing at every note. And this is actually where I'm going to bring up something about Silk Sonic. Now, the interesting thing is that I've read a lot of the backlash to Silk Sonic, especially An Evening with Silk Sonic as the album, especially as it was a pastiche to those albums in the 70s. And one of the big critiques of that album is that it was a little too polished, a little too perfect. And by that I mean that not a question of recording, but in terms of the performers being so good that you lose some of the human imperfections that come out of that. Bruno Mars, being the classic showman, inevitably contributes to that because he's the sort of person who would be such a consummate professional that it would come across as perfect every time. You don't have that added little soulful, raw flair that comes through in the fine details. It comes across like science. I kind of disagree with that with Silk Sonic because I think the lyrics kind of step up and fill in that gap. And I also think there's enough slightly rougher oddball edges that kind of fit that vein. Where the vocals of this song kind of reminded me of that era, but also a lot of that era, also reminded me why there's a whole subsection of that era that tends to get forgotten because it wasn't very good. And yeah, that's kind of what that was. Wasn't that impressed. It is what it is. Like the groove was decent. They clearly knew how to highlight that, but it also went way too goddamn long. And when you didn't vary that groove or had an instrumental solo, big mistake. I was honestly hoping that we got like a saxophone there. That'd been wonderful. All right, let's keep moving. This is a remix project by Royksop, and I'm going to skip that. All right. Rising Philadelphia artist shares a new track of alternative R&B with colorful psychedelic production and poetic lyrics. Chioki? The album is called My Doctor. Okay. And it's just a song. The song is called My Doctor. All right, let's give it a shot.
Paging Dr. Love to the front. Paging Dr. Love.
All right, Dr. Love.
Doctor, won't you care for me, please? And don't you tell me I can't afford to be seen. So what you mean?
Ooh. This ain't Prince. No. No. Not much I can do for you.
Get this girl off my mind. Cause I feel like I'm losing it, doctor. And I don't know what quite to do.
Yeah.
Won't you help me, doctor, please, doctor, please.
That was My Doctor by Chioke, and that was bad. No, I'm not going to mince words about that. That was very disappointing. Actually, I can't even say it was disappointing. I wasn't really sure what the hell that was trying to do. The immediate comparison is Prince. You get a little bit of Steve Lacy as well. Prince was a better singer and a better instrumentalist and a better producer. That felt very watery. It felt like it kind of had a groove, but never really stabilized on it. And the vocals were just really, really rough. I cannot say I enjoyed those vocals at all. They felt very clunky. They felt very. I don't think any of it was on key, but there would have been a way to make that work. I feel like if the texture of the mix was there, but that felt oddly polished in the production. But it's the polish that exposes more about what was on display than actually highlights something that you'd want to hear. So, interesting song. I'm not touching it again. Let's just move on. Patient, yeah, those bars. Yeah, the lyrics weren't good either. Yeah, I'll leave that. Okay. All right. So I believe this is another ambient cut. I want to make sure there's an ambient cut that I have to skip because it's really, really long. No, this one I can cover. This is from Aurora Edition from Psychiatric. That's the name of the album. And the song is actually called Psychiatric. We're starting off with the title track. Gorgeous, sprawling compositions, widescreen work that blends dazzling ambient with classical melodies. Let's give it a shot. The ambience feels big. I like that. We have a very saturated mix here. And those little fidgety elements around a mix that feels much bigger. Feels like somebody just woke up. All those little skitters around something Titanic with how the bass is moving. Nifty. Oh, that's pretty. That's really pretty. Person do film scores? That is Cymatic, the title track from Aurora Edition. That was impressive. one thing I really respect is when an ambient producer can make an ambient song feel so massive and immense as that one very clearly was. A couple things I really like to highlight there, like as some people are saying, oh, it could be a Christopher Nolan track. Hans Zimmer leaning very heavy on that wah. Like I don't think that's what this is trying to do. This is more. This has that. This has a level of an ability to create a sense of space, and I think the way it does it is really nice. It has those little chittering elements that are really like small and skittering at the front, but then you have those thicker, like almost blubbery bass elements that come through in the back. It allows the mix to feel big, to have that sense of negative space, and then you see something that feels immense around and behind it. That's a really impressive piece of sound design. Now, apparently, this is being tied into, actually, it's being tied into an event series dedicated to drone, ambient, and experimental live performances in Switzerland. Well, I'm not expecting to go over Switzerland for that, but that was indeed cool. I'll give that props. I did enjoy that. All right. Next up, about time, folks, we got some jazz. Freaking finally. All right. So this is a holiday LP from Amanda Whitting. It's called A Christmas Kvitch, which is funny as hell. And the song is called Skating. I do appreciate the album art, very Peanuts. Something that's very like apparently these are harp arrangements of Christmas songs. So this is one that looks like it's a little bit more restrained, which I kind of like. And it could be nice and chill. I wouldn't mind something nice and chill. Let's play it. Get some Christmas lights up here. Hang on. Actually. That's nice harp work alongside like that very sandy snare hi-hat. Ooh. Really like those jazz chords here. Really impressive playing here. Wow. It's a very nice arrangement. Feels a little brittle in moments, but like not to a point where I find it distracting. That was Skating by Amanda Whitting from A Christmas Kvitch. That was fun. That was nice. I liked a little bit of a jazz interlude there. The harp work was excellent, especially balanced alongside that very like gently brushed and tapped hi hat. Like that was very very pleasant. Again, feels very much in the jazzy Christmas mood. You kind of know what you're getting in that lane, but I'm not gonna complain about that. Like again, could it be brittle to emphasize the plucking of her harp? Oh, inevitably. That's kind of why I was emphasizing that it was brittle, and it's kind of in that lane. I was thinking maybe like an upright bass would have accented that very effectively in my point of view. Or you have something like maybe a piano to add some additional interplay as well. The arrangement here felt a little sparse, if that's where the one complaint I would have. But at the same time, for a holiday project in this sort of vein of jazz, it was extremely pleasant, extremely likable. I listen to that over the majority of holiday music we have right now, easily. In any case, here's the funny thing. After this next song, I would technically be over with what we were trying to get through. But here's the funny thing. I feel like I'm having a decent time tonight. We're able to get through a solid amount of stuff. I feel like we can keep going for a little bit longer. I don't want to overextend myself tonight because, again, I'm still trying to get over some stuff. I don't want to push myself. But in this, I'm not sure I want to end off on like this big, ponderous, dark ambient piece, which I get the feeling this is. It's going to go for about 9 minutes. Haunting, shadowy, and utterly immersive. The latest dark ambient from Petaril is called Whispers of Rust and Trenches. This song is called Wrought Iron. Yeah, we got dark ambient. It's going to go for about 9 minutes here. Strap in, folks. Yeah, I don't know about this. Hey, it's dark ambient, but it's dark ambient in like a very kind of like hazy and shambling way. We really have to see how this one evolves. There's a lot of texture going on, but I'm not sure like it's building too much of a tune. Yeah, there's a lot of like roiling texture, but I'm not sure it's going anywhere. I wouldn't call it irritating. I just find it kind of oblique. It's not really doing much. Yeah, Realtor, it actually is apparently supposed to be tied into being about war, but like, It feels like this is a sort of ambient song about war that is... Like, I get the texture that it's trying to evoke, but I feel like it could afford to do more with it. Yeah, I know, it's about 9 minutes long. Well, Mark, I fought a good run trying to keep all my audience. I'm not... Oh! We have a horn! We have a horn! Or what sounds like a horn. Sammy, let's be honest. Nobody on Left Tube has music taste cool enough to even use this. Yeah, Realtor, I wish there was more thought put into it. Honestly, this has not started or done much of anything. Like, if the entire elongated expanse is looking to highlight how war is hell and just goes on forever, I understand that, but like... But I'm not sure it goes enough. Again, it's not bad, it's just kind of there. Like I'd listen to this in the background, it'd be just fine, but... If I'm listening to something in the background, I want something that actually does something. Also, the worry when it comes to songs that this long is that my stream winds up getting killed because they are songs this long, but, like, pray that doesn't happen. If anyone wants me to answer questions, I mean, this isn't doing much. Drinking choice tonight, I made Manhattan. It was nice. Manhattan, but no cherries for the Manhattan, unfortunately. Yeah. Here's the thing. I think all of you have picked out the ideas that have occurred within the song, and we're getting an evolution here. Something's happening. I haven't, Sammy, no. Can I be honest? I think this got worse. Like, considerably worse. Like, it took more layered fragments that were kind of like blending and grinding against each other and just replaced it with this one kind of flattened tone, and I don't care for it at all. There's an austerity to this that I feel, again, like when you discover that the composer here is English, it shouldn't surprise anybody. Like there is an austerity to how this idea is being presented. I don't think it's nearly as profound as it's being presented. Yeah, if you draw comparisons to The Caretaker, this is... Oh, we might be over? I think we're over. Okay. Jeez, that was a lot. All right, folks, that was... I'm just getting the name of the song for here. Wrought Iron from Petaril, from the album Whispers of Rust and Trenches. I gotta be honest, that was a chore. The big problem I have with that song was very much of it. It had two ideas. It had that grinding kind of metallic element that occupied the first 2/3 of the song, and then it kind of decomposed into the final third where you kind of had that flattened horn with a little bit of like additional scratching and distortion in the mix. And yeah, no, sorry, like that was not in, like you needed to do a little bit more, especially when you have a runtime around 9 minutes. Like there are ambient songs that did way more than this was doing in its elongated runtime. And even if you're using the runtime in order to make your point, you're not making that point is... The point is profound. Your method of execution in proving it is not. I feel like that's kind of a methodology I need to hold on to a lot when people say, oh, you just don't get it. No, I get it. The execution didn't work, though. Sorry. All right. I'm going to say we have 3 more songs left because I do kind of want to end a little early, give you all a little bit of time back. Hope you all are enjoying this, having a good time. All right, so here we go. Structures of Chaos by Katrin. The Serbian beatmaker ratchets up the analog-infused techno bedlam across 4 massive cuts. Okay. This could be loud. This could go pretty hard. It's going to go for about 6 minutes. Let's give it a shot. The song is called The Arrival. Change the lights a little bit here. So many lights I want. There you go. Yeah, it's funny. You described this as massive after the 9-minute song. This one's only 6 minutes. But it's already doing more. That beat is very, like, that stuttering beat has a little bit more energy to it. Okay. I like what it's doing. It's not really a melody. It feels like kind of like more percussion texture. It's just ramping. There's the melody. feel like the groove is very, very up tempo, but I'm waiting for when it actually is going to actually explode into something. It's just kind of ebbing and flowing with that very, very singular percussion texture. The crescendo is nice, but again, I'd like to see this do more. This is kind of the issue I tend to have with a lot of techno. Like, it feels like it's building, but melodically, it's a little, like, barren for me. And that constant jingling percussion is not doing it for me either. All right, that was The Arrival from the album Structures of Chaos by Katrin. It was all right. I overall feel like that kind of had, again, I hear the description. It's still going, okay. Last little bit of an ambient fade out there. Okay. Not bad, I'd say. It was fine. I feel like that slight jingling and percussion that dominated so much of the mix, it was setting itself up to explode, and you kept getting a little bit in the syncopation that was kept implying that it was, and then it just kept ebbing back. Which, it's fine, I guess. Like, it was still decent, and not like I know in the right sort of techno environment that was going, but I think it was a little too quick to just sit in place for as long as it was, especially for as often as there were subtle shifts in the background texture that kept implying a melody but never really paying one off. Not bad per se, but I'm like, could be a little bit more special. All I'm saying. All right, next up. We got some jazz here, folks. All right. It looks like we're going to end on jazz from what I can tell. And I'm just checking timestamps here. Nope, can't do that next jazz song because it's 15 minutes long, and that's something I just can't do. So we might only have one song left for tonight. This is from an Franco-Algerian singer. And this is from Nesreen Khan Yamakan, because we're skipping Sing Nightingale because we've actually already done that on Bandwidth before I recognized the album art. This song's called Ya Lil. Let's give it a shot. Let's get the lights proper. I don't speak this much French.
Peut-être Peut-être au bout de cette nuit sans fin, Aïchi, Aïchi. Peut-être au bout de cette nuit sans fin, une lueur éclaire le chemin vers demain.
Feels a little less jazz, more R&B. I wonder if it's tagged as R&B. No, it's still jazz.
Que certaines questions restent des samples du passé pour se laisser aller dans la réalité. Le monde défile mais moi seulement je voudrais m'y poser. Et si l'univers se taisait, le froid s'installerait. Tralini, chouati, fi hayati. Entre le silence et la vie sans aspérité, je m'ennuierai, je me lasserai.
I wouldn't say quite coffee shop music. This is kind of like extremely French/European spy movie, like moody drama music. Like, this is a song that plays during the simultaneous silencer gunfight and sex scene. I agree with that too. Yeah, the percussion's doing a lot. Also, beautiful strings here. Love it. Honestly, feels a little like 2000s. Like 2007. Like 2006, 2007 in a very specific lane. For its very subtle brand of opulence. That was Yalil by Nazreen from the album Khan Yamakan, otherwise known as Once Upon a Time. A couple of interesting things about Nazreen. She is a singer from Valencia in Spain, jazz singer predominantly, and it's interesting. She sings songs in both English, French, and Spanish. So that's I take it back. English, French, and Arabic. So that might be where there might be some crossover or some cross-cultural elements there, because that was certainly an intriguing song. The more developed percussion, the very hushed vocals that were after her more ethereal hook, that was almost more conversational. And then especially as the strings came in, that was really, really pretty. Again, I kind of talked through it. I think that it has promise, but I also think that's where we're going to end things off for tonight. Again, keep things off a little bit early. Thank you all very much for watching. And before everyone leaves, I got to think after tonight, there's a song about a cookie we all need to hear once again, because I feel like it inspired something special in all of us. And what a great way to set off the plans for the new year, where again, Bandwidth will be coming back the second Thursday in the new year. I hope to see you all there. But until then...
Been sailing all around the world, doing what's been already done. Ransacking and a pillaging for fun. Oh, for fun. Oh, now cookie, oh, what a man. Should have stayed home on the river Thames. Now you're gone.
Come on, focus. It's in your head now. You can't get away from it. Focus.
Cookie you had your fun, now you're gone to the fire.
There we go. I think I'm in.
Said he came from a foreign land. Bring with him heartache and pain. A false god is what he claimed to be.
Ooh.
But it was all in vain.
It was all in vain, people. Come on.
Cookie, you know what you done, and everybody knows. Said that you lied, you cheated, you done found out. Into the fire you go. Cookie got cooked,
Cookie's going into the fire.
cookie got crispy. Cookie got burned, making trouble. Won't be home for no whiskey. See, cookie got done.
I'm prepared to annoy so many people with this song.
Cookie got irate. Cookie, you had your fun. Now you're gone to the fire.
The ad libs. I'm sorry. Cookie.
You should have lived your life at home.
Why didn't the cookie live his life at home? Like, why?
Your days are dead and gone. You should have stayed home. Stayed your ass at home. You should have stayed home.
Yeah, this song is great the second time.
Your ass at home. Cookie got cooked. Cookie got crispy. Cookie got burned, making trouble. Won't be home for no whiskey.
Won't be home for the whiskey, folks. That matters.